and this is going to be my first YouTube story time. Okay. So I'm just going to give this disclaimer. I'll give it before just about all of my story times, depending what they're about. And I'm only doing this because obviously people that know me personally will be watching these videos, and it can just be annoying when you do story times and people, try to guess who you're talking about or know who you're talking about and have to put it on blast or send your videos to people and make it seem like it's drama or it's gossip. We ain't doing that. Time is about the first time I got played. Okay. Now, when I say first time I got played, I mean like the first time as an adult, not an adult, but like after high school, that I really liked a guy and he did something completely like shitty to me. Okay. So this story takes place maybe 2014. My really close friend, she had moved away to Philly for a little bit, and I had my one best friend that was here, and I had one best friend in Philly basically. And then I had a male friend that I was really, 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 really close with. We're still close to this day. And we would all link up on weekends and go out. And this dynamic will be in a lot of my story times. So get used to these people because they'll be in just about every story. We would go to these, African parties or like Afrobeat parties, Afro-Caribbean parties, whatever. Like that was the thing. That was what we would do. So one weekend, I'm super excited. My friend comes back from Philly for the weekend. My male friend, he's like, yeah, we about to go out. We about to turn up. At this time, I did not know how to drive yet. So she comes to my house, we do our day of errands, shopping, trying to get our nails and stuff done for this party that we're going to, picking out our outfits, all that good shit, right? So my male friend is like, yeah, we gonna ride with y'all to the party. We go pick him up. He got a friend with him. So I have never met this dude before. Mind you, me and my male friend, we grew up together. We've known each other since middle school. So it's like I pretty much know anybody he knows, and if I don't know them, I've heard of them. I ain't never heard of this cat before. I don't even know who he was. All right. So I asked my friend, I was like, who's dude? And she's like, oh, that's Brian. Just call him Brian. That's Brian. All right. So I'm like, all right, cool. So we're getting ready to go to the party, and Brian is with us. My best friend is with us. We're driving. We go to my house. They're in my house, getting ready or whatever like that. And we're all like hype. We're excited. We're taking pictures in my hallway. I know my mom was like, bitch, y'all raggedy hoes need to get out of my house. But we was taking pictures in the hallway, like having a good time. So like, when the night just is off to an amazing start, you're like, this is gonna be epic. That's how I was feeling that day. So we go pick up our other friend. Now, I would just say, like, she was our friend, but we kind of were cool with her through another mutual friend, and that mutual friend wasn't there. So it was like, whatever. We'll fuck with you tonight, but it wasn't really like, I don't know. I didn't really feel like she was gang for real. So we get to the party, and if you know me, and of course y'all probably don't, but when you get to know me, you'll know that I love to dance. I love to whine. I love it. So I'm at the party. This is when I was like cute and young. I had this cute little shape and all this bubbly ass energy. You know what I'm saying? Megan's knees ain't had shit on me back then. Okay. So we're at the party. I'm like dancing or whatever. And Brian is checking me out. Like, he's like, oh, let's see her, look at her, whatever. So we danced with each other a couple of times or whatever. But again, this is in our young partying phases. So like dancing with a nigga wasn't like the end all be all. It was just like, okay, we danced together. So I'm dancing with him. We're feeling each other. Everything's cool. Party's over. And we get back in the truck, we drop Shorty off, and him and Shorty kiss. So I was like, oh, that must be his like girl or whatever. And I was like, that's kind of weird. He was dancing with me, but it's like, whatever, cool. You know how niggas be, wasn't that? All right. So, a couple days later, he hits me up on Twitter. I think this is when I was really on Twitter. I really don't be on Twitter now, but I guess I'll get back on if I'm going to do all this YouTube shit. But anyways, so this was Twitter days, and he was like, hold on, y'all, I need a drink. Okay. So he messaged me on Twitter. He asked for my number. He basically was like, oh, can I get the pictures that you took of us? Because I took the pictures of my male friend, my best friend, and him. So I'm like, yeah. So I'm naive and stupid. I'm really thinking he's asking for my number to get the pictures. But really, like, now that I'm older, I'm like, he was asking for my number for the pictures so he could have my number so he could text me. So I sent him the pictures. We're texting, whatever. At the time, I knew, like, he was, I mean, you kissed my friend, and then I had heard you were talking to another girl some point in between the party and this text message. So I'm like, what's up with you? So I was just like, oh, ain't you somebody? I'm just going to say somebody. I was like, ain't you somebody's boo? And he was like, oh, I'm trying to be your boo. I was like, okay. You know, I like a nice talk, okay? That's my problem. I like when people talk to me nice. So I'm like, okay, cute, whatever. We start texting, we start vibing, and it was like pretty, like it was instant vibes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna dog him out. He was really a good dude, and he still is a pretty respectable dude. I just think age, maturity, and just like where you are in life plays a role in a lot of the decisions you make. So in the beginning, he was so sweet, like, you know, text me all the time, FaceTime me. He used to send me like random videos of him doing dumb shit at home. Like it was cool. Like, you know, it was really nice. And we lived pretty far from each other, kind of in different counties, and kind of on, it was a little bit of a drive. This is back when nobody was driving yet, or at least I wasn't. So, and I was working full time, in school full time, and trying to have me a boo. Okay. Now those three things, you're probably like, bitch, and now I know in my adult years, like, girl, but so it got to the point that I started skipping class to like go see him, you know, and I would catch this long ass bus. It was like an hour long bus, like from one station, from one end of the bus line to the next. Like it was far. And I would go to his house, and I would spend the day at his house. It was cool. You know, when you start fucking with a dude and his friends fuck with you, you're like, oh, I'm in there. You know what I'm saying? And like my female friends knew him before me. And then, you know, my couple friends that didn't were cool with him. It was a cool vibe. We started going to parties together, you know. But things kind of quickly started to change. I started to quickly see some things that I was like, this is going to be a problem. One, at the time, my very close male friend was a party promoter. That's a big thing in like city areas. I'm sure every state, or I don't know, let me not do any geography, but I'm sure there's party promoters all over the US. But like when you live in like the city, they're everywhere. So everybody at that time was a party promoter, including my male friend, which prompted, you know, my boo at the time to be a party promoter as well. That was like not really an issue, but of course with that lifestyle, you're partying all the time, you're around females, and somebody has to be funding that shit. Let's just be for real. Like, these niggas wasn't working, so it was like somebody had to get the money to help them fund these parties and print these flyers and get these tickets. So that became a little bit of an issue. He also was quite a bit of a hothead. So it was every weekend there was a fight or something like that. That started to become an issue. And then, you know, he hung around a lot of women that I did not know. Now, I'm really not the pressy type of girl. I'm not going through your phone. I'm not blowing you up. I'm not asking you a million times who you are. I'm not who's this, who's that, who's this, who's that. That's not really my style. And I really feel like once he figured that out, he took full advantage of the fact that he knew I was not a bugaboo and he was never going to get pressed out by me. Okay. After some time of talking, I'm around pretty much all the time, and I meet a group of female ladies that he hangs around. I would say they were like the female version of his friends. Like, it was just a group of women that hung around this group of guys all the time. And in the beginning, most of them were really cool. Like, they would say hello to me. They would offer to smoke with us. Like, it was cool. They used to even take me home sometimes because it was a drive. So hold on, drink break. Okay. So it was cool in the beginning, and out of nowhere, things started to change. The energy between the girls started to change. They weren't really talking to me. I saw side looks. I saw like a little bit of attitude. It was just a little bit of weird energy between me and the girls. But again, I'm like, okay, I guess they not fucking with me. Then with him, every weekend before every motherfucking party, this nigga would go on a break. We would go on a break before every party. I'm not joking. Why I put up with that? I'm not sure. Why that wasn't a bigger red flag in my head? I'm not sure. But every weekend we went on a break. So I'm like, okay, but I'm really liking this boy. So I'm just trying to hold on to it as much as I can. I'm playing it cool. I'm not really tripping about it. It's whatever. It's cool. It's no problem. After I kind of noticed the difference between him and the girls, things between us get weird. I'm not going over as much. I'm not really spending as much time with him, but we're still a thing. Like, it's still whatever. So I remember one night, me, my best friend from Philly, and my best male friend, we had went to this club together. Okay. So we wasn't expecting to see them. They weren't supposed to be there. To our surprise, we pull up to the club and they're outside. So, and I'm going to tell the story to real, because I usually don't like to tell this story to people who don't really know it, because I feel like from a man's standpoint, this might be a little embarrassing, but I'm going to tell the story real. Okay. So we get to the club and they're standing outside, and the promoter that was working the door was not trying to let them in the club. Mind you, they were on the flyer for the party, but the promoter was not trying to let them in the club. At the time, the promoter, I wouldn't call it a crush, but he kind of had his eye on me a little bit. So when I got there, I see my boo and all his friends outside. It's cold. It's wintertime. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what's but me and him weren't even speaking. I think we were mad at each other. I asked the promoter, like, what's up? He's like, yeah, like, I'm not letting them in for free. Somebody got to pay for them. So being the amazing girl that I am, and the idiot that I am as well, I paid for him and his friends to get in the club. Okay. We get in the club. These motherfuckers walk straight to the back of the club. And I'm like, what's in the back of the club? I saw that it was like a VIP section. And the girls that they hang out with were in the VIP section. And I was like, I'm not about to sit back here with these bitches. I don't, they clearly got some type of issue with me. So I'm not sitting back there with them. So I go to the front. Me and my best friend go to the bathroom. And she was like, we go in, we walk out. She's like, oh my God, Nat. She calls me Nat. And I'm like, what? She's like, you're about to be pissed. And I was like, what? I turn around and I see some girl, like, whining and grinding in his lap. Like, she was giving it to him. When we made eye contact, this nigga, like, lifted her up to her to the side and looked at me. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm not going to pop off in the club. I'm not ghetto. So I was like, I'm not about to do all that in the club. So I just went to the front of the club and just had the time of my life. Like, I was drinking. I was dancing with people. I was having a good time. He finally worked up the little piece of pride to come see what's up with me. So he came to the front of the club and he saw me, like, twerking on somebody and got in his feelings and somehow got put out the club. I'm smiling. I'm leaving the club. I see him outside. So I'm like, oh, close your jacket. You have asthma. and I'm ready to go. So after that, things get real, like funny. Like, you know what I'm saying? We barely even really fucking with each other, but it's not necessarily done. And I really still cared a lot for him. You know, this is like my first serious boo after high school. And I keep saying boo because he was not at any point my boyfriend. Things or it was made seem that things would be moving in that direction, but they didn't get there, and it's probably for the best. So after that situation, I'm really just like over it. So a couple more things happened that I'm just not really going to discuss because it's going to embarrass some other people. But he just got himself in a really messy situation. Involving those females, and I kind of felt like, why would, you know, if you have a girl, why are you out here getting yourself in trouble for other bitches and other bitches that don't even like your girl at that? So I just kind of felt like, no. All right. So after that situation, him getting in some trouble with some stuff, you know, we kind of had a mutual conversation. I was just kind of over it. I was going through some things myself, and I wasn't really interested in being with somebody that was just rowdy and rough and rip and running the streets. Like, it just was not cute to me. I felt like his priorities were all over the place, and he just, I'm gonna keep it real. I just don't think he was feeling me anymore. I think, you know, something else caught his eye, which it did. We're gonna get to that. It's done. Now, let me say this. Let me drop a shit. Let me say this, all right? Your dudes' friends are not your friends, sis. They're not your friends. They will never be your friend. And I'm going to tell you why. The minute me and this dude stopped talking, just about half of the dudes that I met through him tried to talk to me. And this is the way they went about it. A messy African niggas, okay? Let me tell you. These niggas started calling me, and one by one, piece by piece, spilling the beans on what was really going on throughout this whole relationship. Now, even though things kind of got rocky at some point, or, you know, it just kind of fizzled out, I did not know that other things were going on behind my back while we were still a thing. I'm thinking like, okay, we just fizzled out, whatever. That's something that I can take. I can manage that. I can accept a fizzle out. What I can't really accept is being played with. That's what I can't really do. So his friends are calling me like, oh, you know, Brian, you know, he was low-key messing with somebody else. Or, damn, Brian, did you like that? I always knew you was a good girl. I kept telling that nigga, do you right? Things niggas say when they're trying to use your heartbreak as an opportunity to fuck. That's what that was. But it was truth to that. It was truth to that, okay? So one day I'm in bed and I get a call to come to a hotel party. To come to a hotel party. So I'm like telling my best friend, like, we're going to this motherfucking hotel party because I'm hearing stuff and I need to know what's up. So we go to the party. Our male friend comes to get us, but he's trying not to walk in with us because he's trying to let people know, like, whatever happens in here, I'm not a part of it. I ain't bring these bitches here for this shit. Leave me out of there. So I get to the hotel, and it's like one of those conjoint rooms or whatever, and there's like the bitches are in the one room and there's people in the other room. So I'm sitting and I'm drinking this. I will never forget this day. I poured E&J into a Papa John's like cup. Okay, so I'm sipping this E&J. That's disgusting, by the way. We'll never drink that shit again. I'm drinking this E&J and I'm just looking around and I'm observing the room, whatever. Mind you, he wasn't my nigga no more, but like this was fresh. So it was just like, you know when somebody's like not your nigga no more, but it's like, that's still my nigga. Like it's fresh. Give me a second to stop claiming him. But I was feeling like, hold on, what's going on? So I start walking around the room, whatever, and I'm whispering to my male friend. I'm like, which one of these bitches in here is fucking with Brian? Which one of these hoes in here is fucking with Brian? I know somebody in here fucking with Brian. Mind you, I'm getting myself fucked up and I don't even realize. We leave that fucking hotel at 12, okay, because I was so I was so drunk I couldn't walk straight. I vomited from one end of Maryland to the next, like hanging my head out the car, vomiting. It was disgusting. It was so bad. And that was like a point in my life where I realized like this boy is really running me crazy. Like I'm really acting like a crazy bitch over this man and I can't do it. So a little bit after that, I get a phone call a couple days later. I'm not gonna say who called me, but I'm gonna sip wine on it. Okay. I get a call, and it is a friend of mine spilling all the beans. Oh, you know, what am I going to call her? Bambi. You know, Brian and Bambi was fucking. Yeah, they was fucking when y'all was together. Oh, he bought her Victoria's Secret. He da 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 da. I mean, spilled the whole beans of everything that's been going on. Yeah, she be driving him around town. Da 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 da. Okay. Mm. Let me tell y'all why that's fucked up. It was fucked up to me because you know when like a group of bitches don't like you, but it be one bitch in the group that be cool. Bambi was the one bitch out of all of the bitches that I thought was cool. You know, she was the one bitch that always spoke to me. She always gave me a compliment. She was really cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Anytime Brian's dumbass would be somewhere fighting or being ridiculous, she would always come and get me and be like, yo, Nasia, go get Brian. Like, you know what I'm saying? Go get your man. Like, whatever. Now I look back on that and I was like, bitch, were you trying to play me? Were you trying to be funny? I see what you was doing. That's cute, that's cute, that's cute. I'll give you that. But you know, at the time I really thought like, okay, at least he got one female friend that got some type of respect for the fact that like I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like the other bitches at some point were just like, whoop, we don't fuck with that hoe. And I know why. Because, you know, we're all like as a female, you know when shit is going on. You know how other bitches act. Like if I have a friend and she's fucking somebody's nigga, me personally, I probably wouldn't do too much, but like at that age, I probably would throw shade at his bitch because it's like my friend fucking your nigga, blah 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 blah. So now that I'm older and I understand the situation, that's pretty much what was happening. Her friends were throwing shade at me because she was fucking my man. Crazy twist, she had a boyfriend too that I knew of, that I knew for a fact was a fucking maniac. So I was just like, you fucking with this bitch and this bitch is fucking with that nigga? Like, are you dumb? Like, it was so crazy to me that I didn't even feel the need to really retaliate because I was like, God will deal with you. Like, that's how I felt. That situation really triggered like a deep rooted insecurity in me. And I'm just gonna be raw and honest about it because what's the point of a story time if I'm not gonna be 100%? That situation really affects me. I've always been a chocolate girl. I've always been a thicker girl. I've always been a speak when spoken to type of girl. I've never really been too mixy. I've never really been like super popular. Like I've always been like a pretty regular girl. You know what I'm saying? So this girl, like she was beautiful. I'm not a hater. She was a very beautiful girl. She was on the lighter side. She was extremely small. She was a very, very small girl. Completely opposite of me. Very like I wasn't even really wearing makeup too much at that time. Like very like made up and you know just a lot. She was very mixy. She knew every motherfucking body. Not like me, my ass don't ever know nobody. I'd be like, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? So it just made me feel super insecure at the time because I felt like, damn, I really, like, I was buying this boy shoes, clothes, food on food on food on food on food, paying for stuff, like really supporting like whatever it is that he wanted to do. Really was trying to help him get his shit together because for where I was at 19 and where he was back because I'm sick of it. But for where I was at 19 and for where he was at 19, we were not on the same level. And I do not say that with shade. I say that with all honesty. We were not on the same page at all. So I just kind of felt like, damn, it was like the first time and at a very young age where I felt like, damn, I was really like riding for somebody and I kind of felt like they found something they thought was better and just was like, peace, bitch. You know what I'm saying? At the time, I couldn't understand like all this weird shit that was going on in our piece of situationship. But once I realized like he was dealing with her, it all started to make sense. I was just like, oh, this is why we kept going on breaks, and this is why we stopped hanging out, and this is why these stupid things became a problem. This is why you rushed to the back of the club after I paid for your ass to get in. Like things like that started making a lot more sense. But it really did affect me and my self-esteem and how I felt about myself. I really felt like maybe I wasn't cute enough, maybe I wasn't mixy enough, maybe I wasn't ratchet enough. Like what was the case, you know? And it wasn't even just her. I found out he was fucking with somebody else too. And then them bitches started fighting on Twitter. And I'm like, there are two bitches fighting on Twitter about a man I thought was only for me. You can imagine like the mind blowing. Like I was like, damn, y'all really fighting on Twitter, but I like this is my man, and y'all bitches fight. Like it was crazy. It was crazy. But I will say, even though it was a super embarrassing, emotional, I went through a really weird phase. Like I stopped going out. I stopped hanging out with certain people if I knew he was going to be around. Because mind you, we have the same friends, so it was hard to avoid him. I started drinking a lot. I was also on a Nexplanon, which is a birth control, which really has like my hormones were all over the place. So like I was emotionally insane at that time. So I really, 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 really just was a mess over that. But I will say I really respect the way that I carried it publicly. I felt really publicly embarrassed because I come to find out it was something that everybody knew. Everybody kind of knew he was dealing with these girls, but me. This is why I don't trust motherfuckers no more. But everybody knew that he was dealing with these girls but me. So it was embarrassing. It was really embarrassing for me. He was the only dude in that kind of group that I dealt with, and I just vowed to just never kind of deal with them seriously ever, 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 ever again. So yeah, and there was like this whole kind of like waiting period where people thought I was gonna fight her or whatever like that. Okay, let me just say this. I never decided not to fight her because of any issues with the fight. I was really okay with beating this bitch ass because I felt completely disrespected. Because I was like, out of all the bitches, you was the one talking to me. You was the one fucking my man, bitch. But the reason why I didn't fight her is because I really felt like he was not worth the fight. I did not want to be on Twitter with that shit. I didn't want nobody to be like, oh, she fought Bambi over Brian. Like I didn't want none of that shit going on. I just didn't want that. That's not what I wanted. I felt like I could do better, and I can. I felt like I got to a point where I felt like I was a bomb ass bitch in my own way. I was just like, bitch, y'all bitches, ugh, we just doing different shit. You know what I'm saying? At that time, we was just on different shit. I think sometimes I really was upset about it because I felt a little punked in how I was handling it. I was trying to be really classy, but I felt punked a lot of the time, which is like, you'll have situations where you feel like that. But I'm really proud of myself for never fighting over him because it was nothing to fight about. Nothing. Yeah, that is my story, my very, very long story about the first time that I kind of like got played for a fool. And my advice to young girls or just women in general, give a man some time to do a little bit for you. Give it time to give and take. I feel like some of us women, we give so much and we give and we give and we give, and we don't really allow a time for a man to give us anything back. And then when the relationship's over, you feel like you have nothing to show for it, either materialistically or mentally, emotionally, physically. And it just makes you regret some things in life, and you shouldn't really regret relationships. I wouldn't say I regret that relationship, but I will say I gave so much more than what I got. And kind of when I look back on it, it's like, why was I there? Why was this so important to me? Why was this such a big deal to me? Because I felt like I did way more than what was done for me. So I would tell women, like, take your time, especially if you're young. Take your time, take your time, take your time. Get to know the man, relax your spirits, calm down, chill out, you know, don't do too much, and let that man show you what he's about instead of just tell you, because niggas tell you anything. All right. So that is my very first story time on how I got played. All right. And I'll see you guys next time.